All right, welcome. Today, we are going to dive into a really fascinating dialogue, one that gets into the very nature of reality, of consciousness, and, our place in this whole cosmic dance. This explainer unpacks some seriously profound ideas, so let's just jump right in.
Okay, so this is where it all kicks off. The entire conversation really starts with this one powerful, perspective-flipping question. And it's not just some philosophical thing to ponder, it's a deeply personal question that really sets the stage for everything else. Are we just human? Or is there something way more fundamental going on here?
So to even begin to answer a question that big, the dialogue asks us to first look inward. It explores that constant balancing act we're all doing every single day. The dance between our ego, our fears, and that deep down desire for love and connection.
Now, get this perspective on the ego. Instead of treating it like some villain we have to defeat, the dialogue presents it as a necessary counterweight. Our pure divine soul actually needs the ego to stay grounded here in the physical world. And our body? Well, that's the laboratory where we get to run the experiment of finding that perfect balance.
And the whole point of this balancing act, this great experiment, is to move towards something universal. The dialogue suggests that what some people call Christ consciousness and what others call Buddha consciousness are really just different words for the exact same thing, a state of being that goes way beyond our limited little self, one that's totally rooted in love, compassion, and unity. When you boil it all down, that whole balancing act really comes down to a choice, a fundamental choice between two totally opposite frequencies. On one side, you've got fear, and that leads to all the stuff like separation, needing to be in control, feeling unworthy. But on the other side, you've got love, and that's where you find unity, freedom, and this deep, incredible sense of connection to everything.
Okay, so after looking at our internal struggle, the journey shifts. And this is where we get to a really powerful revelation about who we truly are, right at our very core.
The dialogue brings up this famous quote, not as some religious rule, but as a profound reminder. The message wasn't to search for God or divinity in some faraway place or in some special person. The message was to recognize that we already have it. It's right here, inside of us. It's just an inherent part of who we are.
So that begs a pretty big question, right? If this truth is so simple and so empowering, why isn't it just common knowledge? The dialogue points to one answer: control. By creating fear, by pushing the idea that only a few special people are divine, and by setting themselves up as the necessary middlemen, power structures can pretty effectively hide this simple inner truth from us.
And this leads to a direct challenge to one of the most powerful fear-based ideas out there. The whole concept of getting one single life, one shot, and then facing an eternal, irreversible judgment. The dialogue just bluntly asks, how does that even make sense?
The argument against it is, well, it's both logical and compassionate. I mean, just think about it for a second. A short, maybe 80-year life, often shaped by things totally outside our control, gets to decide our fate for all of eternity? The dialogue argues that not only is that mathematically absurd, it's also just fundamentally cruel. It completely contradicts the idea of an all-loving, divine source. So, after questioning some of these old structures, the dialogue pivots. It starts presenting evidence for a totally different perspective, one that's literally written into the code of nature itself. And this new way of looking at things starts with a clue hidden in plain sight, all throughout nature, the Fibonacci sequence. It's this mathematical pattern of growth you see everywhere, from the spiral of a seashell to the arms of a galaxy. And it's presented here as our very first piece of evidence. And this pattern of growth, it isn't just for plants and galaxies, it's a mirror for us. Just like a plant grows and unfolds from its central seed, the dialogue suggests that we too grow outward from our divine core. Our whole life, our consciousness, everything radiates from that single eternal spark inside. And all of this leads us to one key concept, one word that connects the tiniest little thing to the biggest cosmic structures. One word that kind of changes everything. So, what on earth is a fractal? Well, it's a pattern that just keeps repeating itself at every single scale. No matter how deep you zoom in, you find the entire pattern contained within the smallest little piece. And this idea, this image, perfectly illustrates the central point of the whole dialogue. This leads to a conclusion that is just mind-blowing. You are not just a part of the divine source. You are a perfect, miniature version of it. Your soul isn't just a spark from a bigger fire. Your soul carries the entire blueprint of the infinite fire within it. Okay, so if we accept this idea that we're a divine fractal blueprint, that naturally leads to the next step. we have to start questioning our most basic assumptions about reality, and even about time itself.
Now hang on, because this one is a real brain twister. What if our entire perception of how time works is backwards? The dialogue suggests time isn't a river flowing past us, no. Instead, time is a static, unmoving landscape, and we are the ones traveling through it. To help us kind of wrap our minds around this, the dialogue uses this wild mathematical object called a Klein bottle. The amazing thing about it is that it has no inside and no outside. Its surface just flows seamlessly back into itself. And that's used as a metaphor for consciousness. It's all one unified, continuous reality with no real boundaries. So if we put these ideas together, we get a whole new model of reality. If we're the ones moving through time, then our life isn't a single path. It's more like an infinite library of movies. Every moment is one single frame, and from that frame, every possible choice we could make branches off into a new parallel timeline. And the craziest part? Our deeper consciousness, our soul, is aware of all of them, all at once.
So what about dreams? Well, the dialogue suggests they're not just random brain noise. It uses this awesome analogy. Dreams are like our old-school dial-up connection to that vast cosmic internet of all possible realities. They're glimpses into those other timelines, maybe even messages from other versions of us living out those other choices. And this brings this whole cosmic journey right back to here, to now, to you. It leaves us with this final, incredibly empowering thought. The real miracle isn't some historical event from long ago. The real miracle is happening right now, through every single one of us. Divinity is experiencing itself through your eyes this very second. So what changes if you start seeing the world that way?